let's talk about some of the tracks that you were doing at the time. So we've already mentioned the remixes of Waste My High, German Refix, going all the way back to 2 a.m. But there were two tracks that really, really, really hit me, okay? Because the visuals were very strong against the vocal. And I think these two tracks also summed up the Skunk Anansi content with a nice, soft, calm delivery.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go for the double, you know, aggressive content, sounding aggressive.
Yeah.
And I think that what made you very unique
Yeah.
in your sound. And then them two songs was That Girl and Cry On.
Okay, yeah.
Like, talk to me about the process of them two and working with Ironik. How did that come about?
So basically, what I was saying to you about, like, when I was renting the studio out to people and getting people into the studio, I started working with a guy who was local to here, actually. I actually met him, like, I can't remember who I got introduced, but he messaged me on MySpace as well. I owe a lot to this guy, actually, as well, Levels.
And MySpace.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that was just for tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah. So Levels contacted me. He was like, oh, I've worked with X, Y, and Z. I'm YouTubing this guy now. I'm seeing he's worked with Wiley, all these people. So I'm like, oh, all right, cool.
The Godfather.
Like, let's get him in. So got him into a session. We started doing some stuff together. Like, we had a great chemistry. He's a cool dude, man. Definitely.
He's got good energy, doesn't he?
Yeah, wicked energy, man. Like, very talented guy. Just ahead of his time, I think. So we started.
I think you were ahead of your time at that time as well, bro. Because social media, if that had been as big round then, I think things would have been a bit different.
Yeah, I think if the scene was as progressed as it is now, maybe it would have been different. But you know, everything for a reason. But
Amen, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, we're working. Me and Levels are working together, and he's obviously very close with Ironik. So we've done a few tunes together, and he's then played. Obviously, sent Ironik some stuff, and then Ironik was like, "Yeah, man, like I like this guy. Like he got in contact with me. He was like, I want you to do some tunes for me." So I was like, at this point, again, this was another gas moment in my life because I was like, you know,
of course, there's a big moment.
At this point, I'd only worked with kind of local people, up and coming people, and stuff like that. So for me, this was like, I remember Ironik, you know, the huge Ironik, the first one to kind of break out and get chart success and stuff like that, and he wants to work on me.
Not only that, did a track with Elton John, like, come on.
So at this point, I'm like, whoa, this is madness. This guy's got blue tick on Twitter. I'm like, again, my mind's blown. So I'm like, all right, super nervous. I don't know how to go about it. I don't know how to like approach the situation. So I'm like, yeah, all right, let's just start making music. Like, fact is, like, really and truly, like, the singing thing actually at this point wasn't even my focus. Like, singing was always kind of like a secondary thing. Like I said, like I would just pen songs of how I would like to hear them or how I'd like to hear these songs sung back.
There's people out there that are trying to sing, Jojo, that are kicking themselves thinking.
I know, but for me it was just like I've always loved the studio thing. So that was my thing. That at that point I was like I was singing on songs, but purely to write them for who I imagined to have them on, right? So that's what happened with one of these songs. I'd written this and I was like, I sent it to Ironik that I want to get someone on this song. It was That Girl. That was the song.
And he was like, "No, you need to do it."
Yeah, he was like, "No, we're doing this song." Sent me back a verse in like within the hour of me sending him this song. Now I'm like, my life's about to change. Because I'm like, right, at this point, you know, I'm not really pushing it as like Jojo the singer, but it was just something I was doing while I was at uni. Like I was finding it fun to do it. So did this, pushed this out. He was like, yeah, did this verse, and I was just like, shit, man, like I'll go all out for this. Like this has got to be the thing now. So then at this point, I was like, right, I'm gonna pursue this artist thing. He's then, you know, we worked together a lot. He came to a video shoot of mine that I was putting on, because now I'm like, right now I'm going all out with this. Yeah, I'm going all out with this now. So I'm doing it.
This is a career now. This is not just a hobby.
So I'm like, all right, maybe I am the singer. So now I'm like really, really pushing this thing. He's come to a video shoot of mine, Confidence it was called. So he's come down to the video shoot. That's the first time I've like properly met him in person. Again, I'm like gassed.
Blown away, yeah.
So I'm like, now he's in my video. This is going to be madness. So got him in the video and stuff like that. And yeah, man, like he then told me, he was like, I want to start a label. So he started up his label, which was like 3 Stars Entertainment, which I was like, whoa. So now he's like, yeah, I want to bring you in, start supporting you, start making you do this thing properly. So now I'm like, cool, I'm going to be the singer now.
That's when you ring your mum, right?
Yeah. At this point, I'm like, whoa, this is a madness now. And obviously it did like a huge amount for like, to position me. Like that whole period, like allowed me to make so many relationships, and people he introduced me with like are the reason I've done what I've done today.
Okay.
So a lot of that stuff, again, he's another person that I hold him so accountable for like where I am now, because he helped me massively. He introduced me to his manager, who had like great advice for me at the time as well, and like whole team of people who like I still work with closely now as well. So yeah, man, that was a real good time. He really like pushed me forward. Me and Levels did a song which was on, once Channel U had changed to Channel AK, we got playlisted on Channel AK, which I was like, I'm on TV. Stars TV as well. So yeah, that was like.
So at that point, bro, you said something there about Ironik's management, which I think for young artists that are keeping an eye on you and watching you and look up to you, because you do have a big buzz in the city. I'm out and about, and a lot of people ask about what's going on. When is the right time? Okay, so there's young artists out there, and they're pushing their careers, they're spending loads of money, they're looking the part, they're investing in themselves. When do you look at your career and go, I think I need a manager?
That's the thing is with managers, right? It's a funny one, because this scene is like ever changing.
Evolving, yeah.
Every few months it's changing with, how we consume music, how we listen to music, how people take music on. It's a lot faster than it used to be. So like with that, the roles of these people have changed. Like having a manager now is a very different role to what it would have been like 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Having a manager, like the first rule of having a manager in my mind, or having a manager that's worth having on board, is they need to be able to say, I've done X, Y, Z, I can do X, Y, Z, and they have proof of how hard they're going to work. And it's like, the right time to bring a manager in is when you don't have any other choice. Like, you can do so much yourself these days. It's so key to first of all understand why you would need a manager. So a lot of people just want a manager because they feel like, okay, a manager's going to get me into this room, or do things for me. You can get yourself in those rooms yourself. Like, you don't need someone to push those boundaries. The time to get a manager is when managers are approaching you and they can say, yeah, I've struck this deal, I've done this deal, look at what I did with this person. That's the only time to bring a manager on board. You want someone that is gonna be working as hard as you, if not harder. Because the best managers I've met in my life are people that, like, their hustle is undeniable. As much as I'm speaking to that artist I work with, I'll be speaking to that manager as well. And it's like they're both on the same page, and there has to be this close relationship that it works. So I would say the right time, it's a hard question, because the right time to have a manager, really and truly, in my opinion, is when you need one. It sounds like such a vague answer, but it's like.
But I mean, the common artist, I say a young artist, like if I look back at processes of recording music, there's times where I thought, man, I should get a manager now, that would help me blow. Now I look back and I've had 3 different managers and none of them really did anything.
No.
So I kind of get what you're saying, but at the same time, there's people, I think, that look at it and think, well, maybe I could get more out of my career and my time management.
Yeah.
Not actually pushing into the career, but someone to say, look, I'm going to do this studio there, you got to be there, there's bum, bum, bum. So more maybe a logistics planner than an actual personal manager. Yeah. Do you see what I mean? And I think that could be the link now, because of the changes in the industry, is it's more about logistics than management, isn't it?
Definitely. And I think if you have, for example, if you have someone that you're working with, right? So as an artist, as an up and coming artist, if you have someone that you're bouncing ideas off, and they're going to work actively as hard as you to source things for you and to move forward and make decisions with you and create with you, that can be your manager. Like that can be your manager, but it's taken on someone that's like external. So you wouldn't
suggest, or you wouldn't advise against, yo, that's my mate, I want him to come with me, I want him to be successful, bro. Can you manage me, bro?
It needs to be such a natural thing. Like, it needs to be a real natural thing. It's very hard to say, because, like I said, the roles of managers have changed so much. It's like.
So you would suggest, though, that it's an outsourced, somebody that knows about management, not trying to chat to your best mate and say, learn about management real quick?
Do you know what, it's hard to say, because even in scenarios like that, I know some situations where they have come up with someone who's just their friend who's become an amazing manager. Tiny Temper is a prime example.
Okay.
Because Dummy, well, is his cousin.
Right.
Is his manager, and he's a brilliant manager, very, very good manager. But that's someone who already had that installed in them.
Yeah.
You know, that like Dummy was someone who he already was working on stuff. So just partnering up with Tiny, obviously was an amazing, you know, bond between both of them that made for a great manager. So it's really, like I said, it's very, very hard to say, because a manager just needs to be someone that's pushing in the same direction as you and as hard as you. And like that can come at any time. But I would say for the most part, like when you need a manager is when you've literally exhausted all of your own resources that you can build yourself, because you can do so much for yourself. If a manager is going to take you to a place that you can't achieve yourself, then that's someone you want to work with.
Definitely worth having in that case, isn't it?
So it's hard to say when there is a time to have a manager, because if you're at like the very start of your career, and like I said, there is someone that you're close with that is very good at, we should do this, planning, we should do this, how about you try and do this, how about you, that could be your manager. You know, so it's like, it's very dependent on the person, because also having someone just come in, I see it so often in this industry as well. You also have people come in who have no idea. They'll have no idea. They just like the idea of being a manager. So they'll take people on board, and it's kind of like the blind leading the blind. So it's like, if you have a situation like that, it's not worth it, because you as an artist, you probably watch the game more. You probably understand the game more. You probably understand where you want to be positioned yourself. Like fundamentally, as a new artist, you need to have things installed in yourself first before you try and then bring someone else in. You need to know exactly what your package is, exactly what you want to achieve, exactly the type of music you want to make. You need to have this plan in your head already for then someone else to even understand what you want to achieve.
And believe in it to
so
make them buy it.
It's a very hard question to answer, because it can come at any time, but it's just about the right situation. It would be my advice, is like, it has to be something that makes so much sense, because even in my position, I've had, you know, quite a few people try to take a manager position, but for me, it's like, I am so detailed with what I do and how I construct it. Unless there is someone that can show me I'm better at making these judgments than you, it doesn't make sense for me. It wouldn't make sense for me. So it has to be, you know, it has to be something that's going to aid both of you and be obvious. Okay, this is definitely going to benefit both of us.
And have a good outcome, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
No, I totally get that. So, talking of good outcomes, let's talk about a bad outcome, a very sad outcome of this year. And if you don't mind, can we talk about? So we lost Cadet this year.
Yeah.
Obviously over the year before he passed, you spent a lot of time with it.
Definitely.
Number one, how did that come about? And talk to me about how you deal with a process like that.
So we first started working together through Beat Freaks. So
who you now sound with, yeah?
Yeah. So I have a contract with them, work closely with them on a lot of their projects, do a lot of in-house stuff with them. So it was a session with them, and I think one of the first sessions we had was a session with me, him, and a writer and artist called Malogo.
Okay.
And like the thing is with getting a session with people, it's very quick for me to gauge like when I have a good vibe with someone, when I have a good connection with someone. The energy's
right.
And we just chopped it up straight away. Like we were just, like, we all got in there. I get on with Malogo very well. I work with Malogo a lot, so we already get on.
So you already knew him?
Yeah, so there's already a good energy between us. Then obviously Cadet came in. He was a very, very, very humble guy, and I was a fan of him before I even got there. So for me, again, it was
That's a buzz, right?
Yeah, it was quite a gas situation, because like probably like a year before that, in my mind I was like, I'd love to work with this guy. So
and yet you were actually part of that journey, and such a huge catalyst in him breaking the scene.
Yeah, man, and that's something that like I will hold so close to my heart forever. Like, that was like a huge blessing.
It just came out of nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah, for real. And it was, so obviously we started working together then. We had a connection straight away. So we had a few sessions after that where we just worked on a lot of stuff. In that session, we maybe did 4 or 5 songs, like just straight off the bat, like straight in that session. So the energy was there straight away. We got on very well. So then obviously we we started talking after that, and we were working closely together. The session after that we did Advice, so that was only the second session I'd ever had with him. He came to the studio.
And congratulations on the success.
Thank you,
That's just gone
through
the roof.
Yeah, man, yeah, definitely. So that's obviously an amazing blessing as well. But the second session he came with that. Obviously him and Dino had the clip that had gone viral online.
Yeah, yeah.
He came to the studio, and we literally produced the song, recorded the song, mixed and mastered the song, shot the video all in the same night. So if you watch the video, there's actually a scene in there you can see me. I'm genuinely mixing the song as they're shooting the video. So
Wow.
we banged that out. So obviously that was that kind of energy is very different.
That's also serious work rate, right?
Yeah, serious work rate. He came to the studio as we're making it. He was like, the videographers come in 20 minutes. So obviously they knew the lyrics already. So we just did it. We smashed it out, and yeah, man, that was we had fun doing it. No one ever expected it to do what it did. So it's an amazing blessing, and I'm so grateful that I got to share that with him. And then obviously, so from then we started working together closely. We had a regular session, so he'd come here every single week. Come down here, we'd work on a lot of stuff.
He was here the night before.
Yeah.
There's a picture with him and the monster, Casey, upstairs.
Yeah, man.
The night before, we were at the 4 Hours gig. It was just.
So it's crazy, man. It's such a huge loss, such a huge loss. So obviously when you spend a lot of time with someone, you get close to someone. We're working together a lot. For me, the most painful thing about the whole thing is we had so many plans. And when you make music with someone, you talk to someone, you talk about their aspirations, their goals, their dreams, what they want to achieve, and it's off the back of the success of Advice, it's now these things that we're planning, they're becoming realistic. It's shit, man, we can achieve this stuff,
You manifested it.
So
really.
it's we worked on, we had about 22 songs, maybe 23 songs stacked up. Yeah, we had a lot of stuff, a lot of ideas, a lot of huge opportunities that he had. So literally, it was crazy, man. We had a session. He was literally texting me the next day, send me this. I forgot to send him a file. So
there's a surprise. You never do that, Joe.
Yeah, I know, imagine. So he's messaging me to send him a file. Send him a file. We're having a conversation. There was I don't know, in case it still happens, I'm not going to say what the feature was, but there was a huge feature which we were both gassed about. That we're working on. So we're waiting on this feature. It's mad. We're just both so gassed about it. It's Friday. We're messaging. Cool. All right, I'll get that sent over tomorrow. The morning comes. I hear the news, and but my first initial thought was he's been hacked. That was the main thing I thought. So I was like,
so hold on, pause there. So where did you hear it from? His Facebook page?
I heard it. My phone. So I wasn't due at the studio until 10 a.m. My phone's going off at from 8 a.m. My phone's ringing off.
Yeah.
What's I gonna want? So I find out purely through the fact that I had about 100 messages. Oh, have you heard? Have you heard? Have you heard? I'm like, what? I've gone on Instagram straight away. Went to his page on Instagram. There was obviously a post there. So I was like, well, I've called. There's a mutual friend that we had, a guy called Tech, another rapper that I work with as well. They're like childhood friends. So I've called him straight away because I thought, I'm not believing this hype. He might have been hacked. It might have been, it could have been anything. So I'm like, call him. The minute he says hello, I knew it was the truth. So
you could hear it in his voice.
Could hear it in his voice, and it were. The thing is, it's hard because obviously I hadn't known him for like some of his friends had known him, but it's we built such a good relationship, and the thing is,
in a short space of time as well, that connection. The energy on the song speaks for itself.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
you can hear that.
It's just, and the thing is, it was just a blow because it's someone that I had a very, very, very good connection with, and the way we made music was we had a good friendship built off of that, and it was that was the main thing. That was my upset came from the fact that he had all these things in his head, all these things that he was gonna do. That was you did it. The most upsetting, one of the most upsetting things as well. He didn't get to get his plaque, like the rest of us did. Didn't get to see his first plaque. So it's that for me was something that was very that was the main thing that was very hard to deal with. Obviously, I feel
seeing the success and he's gone. And
yeah,
it's kind of yo.
I feel like his peak was he had obviously already touched so many people. He'd done so many great things in his career, but it's
I think he was still rising though. In my opinion, he was still rising.
This year, in my opinion, this year would have been his most successful year.
Yeah.
He was on such a peak. That's for me. That's the most upsetting thing is that I'd met someone who in this industry, it's hard to come by very, very genuine people, which is why I keep, I'm glad I have a very close team and stuff like that. But it's very hard to meet people that.
And it's not easy to get in here either to record.
Yeah, and like this, and he's a very, very, very knowledgeable guy as well. So he dropped gems on me every time we were there together, like how to, like just on, sharing things on how to function, how to do things
Music
in this
industry
Yeah,
stuff,
and just finding someone that's very honest and very real about things.
And he's in the city, so it's quicker pace.
So that's the thing. So it was, for me, it was just very disappointing that like we had built this connection. We had all these huge plans, and it's like he didn't get to do these things that was in his head. Like thankfully the album's still coming out, so these songs will still.
Yeah, how do you deal with the process after that? Because number one, Jojo, I think on behalf of a lot of people, you're commended on remaining professional and not letting emotion get in the way through that, because that could have been an easy thing and no one would have held it against you. No. But you've managed to sustain yourself as a person and professionalism, and that couldn't have been easy. What would your advice to young people to dealing with a loss like that, how to deal with it?
The best thing for me, this is, and it's probably going to sound corny, but for me the focus became like, let's get this, let's make as much of what he wanted to achieve come true. So and like I just wanted his family to be able to hear like the stuff he'd created, the stuff we had done together. The worst thing I think could be that music not seeing the light of day. So for me, the focus became like.
But can you confirm it's going to see the light of day?
Oh, it's going to see the light of day. 100,000,000%.
And how far are we from that process? Is it going to happen this year? Are we going to hear something this year? Is it 2020? What?
I think more likely it will be.
Can you talk about it?
There's not a lot I can say about it, but it's soon. It's sooner rather than later, which is like an amazing thing that I'm happy about. But the main thing became like for me. This was the main thing. I felt so much for his family, so much for like the people that surrounded him, that for me, my focus became, all right, this is very, very upsetting. This is something that's like, it's hit me because I've never had someone my age or, around my age. Or
someone close, so close.
Like pulled away like that. So for me, that was a very weird thing to kind of adjust to and deal with, which actually hit me a lot more than what I would imagine something like that would hit me. But my focus, like I said, became, let's make things happen. Let's take what's happened.
Make a positive.
And let's try and get something out. So
because he had already created a legacy, it's just about kind of just adding a bit more to it. Like,
that's it. And
like that's such a severe loss.
That's the main thing, and that became my main focus, and that became my main like happiness that he sold out his show, which sold out in 10 seconds.
What?
10 seconds.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, 10 seconds it sold out, in which that made me happy because his family got to see that. It was an amazing event for his family.
And a lot of people turned out, like artists, from both sides of the table, artists, people.
Yeah, that's it.
It was very well attended.
Yeah, man, it was so good.
And great energy.
Yeah, that Sunday we had, everyone met up in London, and there was like a huge memorial for him. Yeah. So many people turned up. That was amazing to see as well. So
it's such a short space of time as well.
That's it.
Less than 48 hours.
That's it.
And such a big turnout.
Yeah, and like Dino had me and Dino made a song straight away, which was like that. So it sounds corny, but through music, it was quite nice to be able to like, okay, there's stuff happening through music. It was good to do that song. The
music
Dino.
Was a bit of closure and helped soften the blow, kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
For real, man. And it was good to. Like everyone was close with him, so it was good to be able to see people and like remember him in a positive light and know that okay, we're going to achieve some stuff with this. Obviously, Krapt has done like an amazing job with doing all these things as well. So it's never going to be like an easy thing, but my thing is for that his family have been able to see the impact that he's had on people's lives.
Did it bring the squad closer? Did it bring you guys a little bit closer in, like kind of losing something?
Yeah, definitely. And it was like. It allowed us all to kind of kind of deal with it all together, which was cool,
and lean on each other a bit more.
Yeah.